So today we're going to talk about why it's important for your characters to not suck. Hi, I'm Shar, and I have a comic called The Golden Troupe, and in it I have 5 main characters. In those characters, I have different aspects of myself. So the main character kind of looks like me, but also has aspects of me that are kind of wish fulfillment and wanting to be my best self. And the 4 other characters are actually animal characters, but they don't talk, at least not like humans do. If you know animals, then you will be very familiar with how these animals actually in fact do talk, but they speak in their own language. The horse speaks like a horse, the cat speaks like a cat, and the dog speaks like a dog, and so forth. One of the most important things I want to do in this comic was portray animals actually like animals. One of the biggest pet peeves I have is when certain characters are portrayed only like dogs, like a caribou acting like a dog, or a horse acting like a dog. These animals all have very special, meaningful, actual languages in of themselves, and to just treat them all like the same animal is just kind of a disrespect to that species, really. So in order for you to have characters that don't suck, how do you even go about that? Step number 1, for me anyway, is to make sure that I actually care about them. I make sure that I create characters that I actually care about, that I have a strong tie with. And in doing that, I ensure that there's an honesty that comes about those characters that wouldn't be portrayed otherwise. Another thing to understand is, do you get these characters? Do you understand them intrinsically? Now, I'm portraying animal characters, and I know these animals, but say you're portraying someone who you're not. Maybe they have an identity that you actually don't have. Are you close to someone with that identity? Can you have them spot check your characters for you to make sure that they're not off in some way? Because the last thing you want to do is create nothing but unoriginal stereotypes. It's not super cool, and people who are that identity will see right through it. Now we'll go ahead and take a peek at some of these characters that I've created, and I'll get more into why they matter to me. A third thing you can think about for creating characters is how they all play off each other. If all your characters are exactly the same, then they will generally not have too much of a conflict with one another. Like this little guy. He has no conflict with that tree. So for instance, if you have a ornery mayor who has issues with everyone and everything, then contrasting it with a sweet, lovable character is going to get more interesting dynamics between these two characters than if you just had 2 very sweet characters that always interacted with each other. Of course, characters who have more negative, angry, more volatile emotions, they're going to generally have more conflict. So you could have multiple angry characters and just play them off each other. This character is my mare, my horse character named Aspa. She is a Arabian horse, and she has, especially at the beginning of the story, issues with pretty much everyone and everything. Despite that, you'd think everyone would dislike this character, but actually she's a total fan favorite and everyone loves her. I know for me, I love this character because she does what I wish I could do sometimes. Somebody gets on her nerves and she just reacts. She doesn't think about the consequences, she is the consequence. And there's something to be said for kind of admiring that sort of character. Now, this will get her in trouble down the line, but that said, it makes for an interesting story nonetheless. Now, if she were only a ornery, angry, mean-spirited animal, I think she wouldn't be as popular as she is. I think within a single character, it's good and interesting to provide multiple facets of that character. For instance, she's actually also really sweet and gentle and protective of the ones she cares about. And seeing her be willing to lay down her life and put it on the line for people and other creatures that she cares about really makes you do care about this character. If she were unredeemable in any way, then I think most people would just not like her at all. But because she's like multifaceted, I think a lot of people are just really, really drawn to this character. There's definitely aspects of her that I want to emulate and bring with me more into my life. This guy, though, he doesn't have a mean bone in his body. In contrast to Aspa, we have Rioxia here, who is a king cheetah, and she is a total sweetie pie. In order to get her angry, you have to really, really mess up somehow. She's kind of like a golden retriever in that way. If she's growling at you, you're the one who messed up, not her. She's also a little bit shy in either new situations or just situations that she doesn't have total control over. Overall, she's just a really sweet character. Effectively, she is baby, protect her at all costs. Now, this is the first character that my main character is introduced to inside the comic. As well as being like a nice, sweet character, she's also really, really unique looking compared to other cheetahs. Most cheetahs are kind of tan color with little spots, and she's actually a almost pure white cheetah with bluish spots. And on top of it, not only does she have these bluish spots, but she's a king cheetah, which is a variant of cheetah that is not super uncommon, but not super common as well. So the fact that she has this unusual coloration on top of the fact that she already is a unusual variant of cheetah makes her extra unique. King cheetahs typically have long stripes with big spots, which is totally makes them look different compared to regular cheetahs. So this unique look mixed with her kind of sweet personality just sort of makes her a character that people tend to gravitate toward because she stands out so much. In a lot of ways, I kind of consider her like the best version of myself. This next character is a Saluki dog, which is a very ancient breed of dog. They're known to be somewhere in the neighborhood of 5,000 to 6,000 years old. So they fit into the time of the Achaemenid Empire when my comic takes place. This particular boy is named Ki, and he is a deep red color with a little bit of white markings on him as well. He is actually based on a real-life Saluki that I knew back when I lived abroad, and I just wanted to kind of pay homage to this Saluki because he was the first one I ever met in person. I took a little liberty with his personality though. He's a little shy, little timid, not the first into a fight. He also has a bit of an aloof personality, and that can kind of be interpreted as maybe like royal fancy and haughty as well. He comes from a royal lineage of Saluki dogs, so it's understandable that he may have a little bit of a, well, high horse about him. He's actually just been introduced into the comic at this point in time, and as it turns out, Aspa absolutely loves him. And this creates an interesting dynamic because he doesn't really care one way or the other about her, but she completely fawns over this dog. The reason why I did that is to add another aspect to Aspa's personality. She just finds someone to be utterly attached to. It doesn't make sense to anyone else but herself, and it just makes them more interesting. So in a way, Ki is really pretty much just like a character to bounce off of Aspa herself. She's kind of the main stronger character, and he just kind of is there for her, basically. In other words, he's more of a supporting character, whereas Aspa's more of a main character. And I think it's important, while you may have a main cast of characters, there's going to be different times and places in which each one of these characters kind of takes a highlight. And more often than not, one character will kind of stand out than another. And you can base that on the fact that one character is more popular. Maybe you didn't intend for that character to be more popular, but at the same time, they end up being that way. So you draw more focus and attention to that character. You can always add more personality and depth to the character if you have like little side stories that you want to tell and try to flesh out the other characters, but at the same time, sometimes it's okay to just have a side character that doesn't take the limelight all the time. If you have a reasonably large ensemble, I'd say more than 3 main characters, it does get a little crowded personality-wise in the cast of characters. So it is kind of good to, another rule I'll say is to have a hierarchy of characters. This hierarchy allows certain characters to breathe, have more room to grow, and some characters to just sort of stay in the background. This final character we haven't met yet in the comic as of this recording, and his name is Morg. He is a golden eagle. And it's a little funny I put him so close to Aspa because they hate each other. Much like Aspa just decided that she loves Key, she just decided she absolutely hates Morg and wants nothing to do with him. I created Morg to try to embody the visceral, instinctual reactions that you don't really think about, it just happen. He's a no-nonsense kind of bird. He doesn't have a ton of feelings for any one particular character, but he does react very strongly to Aspa not liking him very much. He does have a little bit of a soft side, while he doesn't like he doesn't like his feet touched, which is interesting because with falconry, you do have certain things that you have to put on their legs and deal with their feet. But he does have a small side to him that does enjoy affection a little bit. This also makes him stand out compared to typical golden eagles. Pretty much birds of prey, they're not super affectionate animals. They don't seek out affection, and they're not super responsive to it for the most part when they're presented with it by humans. And Morg completes the cast of characters. So we have Morg, Aspa, Reaxia, and Key. And they all work together to create the Golden Troupe. I appreciate you watching, and if you like this video, then please like, comment, and share. Have a great day. Take care.